In this video, we're going to discuss global shortages and is this really a form of warfare? Now, if we look historically back to the last World War, World War II, we've seen where part of this warfare was, number one, the submarine warfare, which sunk a lot of cargo ships that were carrying vital supplies to Europe from the US. And also the different bombing campaigns, a lot of the targets were industrial, storage, and railways. Railways, bridges, and that, the infrastructure of the country, the enemy country, to disrupt the transportation and movement of material. Okay, that was the way the war was fought. All right, so it's expensive. You have to build planes, you have to build subs, you have to build ships, and all this other stuff. But like I said in one video that I did have banned, where I said that a certain health crisis and the requirements, posed by it, was self-inflicted imprisonment and martial law. Okay, without the need of troops, without the need of any agency to enforce it. So now, after this has come and kind of backed off and went back, now we've realized that there are shortages. And yes, I've covered the shortages of guns and ammo on my channel here because this is basically what you would call a gun channel. That's basically most of the topics are about firearms, shooting sports, reloading, and the situation involving this sport and the availability of ammunition and such. So what we found, and what I found other people are deeply concerned about and talking about, is now with this disruption from everything, there are other shortages of just everyday items. After everything was kind of lifted, the first thing was lumber. Lumber went up, and lumber drastically increased in price. And, for a time there, you couldn't get lumber, all right? Or if you did, it was quite expensive. And again, all of this is blamed on the fact that they shut down everything. Manufacturing, transportation, everything else has been disrupted by all of this. And it's basically under the guise of a health problem, not an act of war. In other words, nobody sabotaged the rail lines or destroyed the trucks and that needed to move material. They just did not run because of mandated restrictions, in that they more or less shut down everything. So what this creates is a ripple effect. In other words, the way manufacturing, which I was involved in it for years, manufacturing or the transportation of any finished goods of any type, okay, be it, something like lumber, clothes, or equipment like lawnmowers and that, as compared to things like food, fuel, gasoline, be it natural gas in a liquefied form, or petroleum products, or oil itself, crude oil to be refined. Everything has to be transported, and how it works is, we'll go with shipping, because everyone's talking about all these ships bringing all this stuff from China out to the port of LA, and they're sitting out anchored, waiting to be unloaded for a long period of time, like weeks and months. Well, how this works and how this kind of destroys the economy is, say, a ship. It costs money, costs a lot of money for a ship to move. So they load the ship at point A, China. The ship travels, and that's all predetermined. They pick a route depending on the time of year and the weather, and whatever's the shortest route, because just like anything else, time is money. The longer time it takes to cross the ocean, the more expensive it is. And generally ships will arrive on schedule at the port. In other words, port knows they're coming. They know there's a shipment. They will come in, offload the cargo, okay, which, they might wait a period of a day, normally, I guess, get in, and whatever it takes, there's a certain amount of time that they should have offloaded the cargo, say a day, day and a half, 2 days. Say 2 days, let's make it simple. They park the sucker, get it in there, 2 days to unload it. And probably equal amount of time, be it another 2 days, to load something on there, because it is not economical to have the damn thing empty and send it to the other side of the world. These ships are scheduled that when they are operating and there's an expense in the fuel and the time and the labor paying the crew to operate this transport, there's a cost. Okay, and the quicker it's done and more efficiently it's done, the lower it is the cost. Now, when you have these ships parked, not only does it create a shortage, but the whole distribution system globally is totally out of whack. Getting empty containers back after the goods are delivered, having the ships loaded with something to leave, and the fact that they're waiting where it should be, 24 hours to 48 hours maximum, they're waiting weeks and months. So the ship must still run. Okay, you just don't turn it off like a car. The ship's running, there's power generation, there's fuel being consumed while it is anchored. The ship is an actual, a giant machine that runs. So there is a cost, and you got to pay the crew. So now, when you have weeks, months of shutdown time, okay, or just sitting idle, you're losing money, okay? And I believe this is where, to compensate for this loss, this is why I seen an example where they said one container cost to bring in product from China. The guy said, I ordered one giant container, one truckload. One truckload, or one of those containers, go on the back of a tractor trailer, was $6,000 to $7,000, for it to come in to the U.S. And that's just the transportation cost. That has gone up to $28,000 to $30,000 a container, and if things get worse, they said it might be even 40-some thousand a container, from say the max is $7,000 to send a container across the ocean. That's a huge difference just in the transportation cost of a product. So say to send this cup in the mail or to have it shipped, say the transportation cost is $7. Now that's gone to $35 just for sending this coffee cup from point A to point B. Okay, that's a huge thing in inflation. And really, when your gas prices go up, when building the porch, the lumber, or repairing it, turns in from a $100 project in lumber to a $320 project in lumber, okay, that puts a financial strain on everybody. And like the last video I made with people ain't working, where are people getting the money, if nobody's filling these jobs in, okay? So it's just like I said when I started this video, it's kind of just like warfare, okay? And with this, and this is not just my location, my state, or one seaport in one part of the United States. It's several of the largest transportation hubs, or shipping hubs globally, have been totally disrupted, and it's a ripple effect. Because with any type of modern production or manufacturing, the lean manufacturing or whatever, is the concept is if you store your product, no matter what it is, okay, storing it, you're losing money, to where if you just make the stuff, then it goes and it's shipped, it's not being stored. You can have a smaller facility, you don't have to have storage space, you don't have to move the finished product 2 or 3 times before it leaves. Ideally, the product is done, be it whatever, toilet paper, paper towels, and at the end of the product line, it's shrink wrapped, put on a pallet, and it goes on to a truck, okay? Ideally. Well, when you shut the line down for a couple months, or you don't have trucks to pick up the finished product, this creates mayhem. And like I said, if the factory has been designed and set up to where there is no storage area, then within a few days, your production, you have a ton of product that you have nowhere in your facility to put it. Okay? So this whole thing is widespread, it's global, and it's creating huge problems. And it is more or less a form of warfare, because now what I've heard is this winter's going to be exceptionally cold. And now they're already talking that all of Europe is going to have a shortage of energy because basically natural gas has replaced a lot of the, any kind of coal or wood burning for heat. For heating buildings has all been converted to natural gas. Now, all the green power, the wind power, solar power, and all that other stuff is there, but it does not produce enough. Okay, and that's where someone got in an argument with me that you can't run stuff on electricity like electric cars, electric planes, like they're planning to do this within 10 or 20 years, that we're going to have everything electric, no more internal combustion or whatever. A lot of people don't believe in it. They don't believe it's possible. I'm one. I didn't get into depth or get any of the details, but I find that transition in that short period of time, whether it works or not, is not going to happen. It's impossible. I don't believe you can make the transition in that short period of time that they're talking about. And so now they have a problem where nobody stockpiled fuel. Natural gas is stored in a liquid form. Okay, so it's brought in tanks, much like, say, gasoline. Okay, and it's transported in pipelines, much like gasoline, in its liquid form. So this is the main thing, and also this is the main supplier of Europe's natural gas is Russia. Okay, and nobody has stockpiles or reserves because of the shutdowns with no trucking, no transport, and everything else. It's all being held up. There's a total disruption of commerce globally, to put it that way. And so now, once it gets cold, there's going to be shortages. Then they're raising the price up, and I mean drastically raising the price up. Like I said, a good example is I did find that the container $7,000. Now it's like $28,000, $30,000 for the same thing, traveling the same route. And they're saying that the price of, we've seen the price of gasoline go up. And now they're saying with shortages, the price of heating your home in the winter is going to go up drastically. And it is at a crisis level, I guess, in Europe. So we'll see. So the big question is, like I kind of explained with the shutdowns and all this other stuff, it's a normal, it's an explainable, that's the explanation for why this is happening. But what happens if, the question arises on how valid or how real the root cause is? Okay, and saying that, questioning this will maybe get this video taken down or whatever, but let's just hypothetically say that the root cause is a lie, and it's controlled, and it is part of a plan to throw the whole world into chaos. And with the shortages, this is an economic form of warfare. It's destroying global economies, and it turns in, when it comes to energy and heating your home when it's cold, it does turn into a real danger to your physical well-being. That, and I think there was one point I was going to make here. I'm sorry, I want to bring in the point of rationing. Okay, that's where it's going to lead to, and we see it now. We all know with ammunition, the guys that watch this channel, when you go to a store, if they got something, they limit you to 2, 3, 4 boxes. You just do not have unlimited buying. Well, now I guess a lot of things people are complaining because with the fall coming and flu season, everyone's nervous. And again, just like with guns, ammo, fuel, okay? People are nervous, people are panicking, and now they're finding that when you go to retail outlets to get toilet paper, okay, I think Costco, my wife said Costco's got a giant sign. They limit you on what you can buy. So in other words, you get just one giant pack, that's it. You can't buy 5 or 10. Okay, in a way, it's kind of good to prevent hoarding, but then in another way, when people hear this, and I've heard this, like I said, when people were complaining about other shortages, I hear this, and it like leads them to panic. Okay, the fact that they're telling you you can only buy one item per trip to the store kind of drives them, and it starts this whole damn thing, just like with the ammunition, the guns, be it toilet paper, be it food. There's going to be rationing and limiting. And also, where this fits in, to install your global government, one of the main key objectives is countries like the US, where people are used to just getting what they want, whenever the hell they want it, and as much as they want. The idea is to crush the economy, number one, and number two, get it to where you have less purchasing power and you buy and consume less. Okay? And this is all, it could be a conspiracy theory. I know, like everyone says, the Great Reset, whatever. They are systematically destroying the world economy to collapse it and get it level to where people are really going to have an unpleasant life. And at least here in the U.S., you're going to see people really are not going to like it. When our standard of living, our general standard of living is going to be lowered way down to where, you're going to have to decide, do we eat this or that, or we don't have toilet paper, And then you're going to see what fuel and energy costs. That's going to be a big thing, and that's going to hurt people in Europe something fierce this coming winter. Between the shortages and the increase, I don't know. See, it's all kind of planned, and I believe it is controlled. A lot of people tell me that I get these comments whenever I do a gun and ammo shortage video that it is an artificially created shortage. I can't really say that people are withholding stuff, that I kind of don't believe. But what I do believe, and the reason I made this video, is there's an ongoing disruption to our whole, well, it would be the economic system, because that's what it is. Manufacturing, production, transport, everything, the whole system where we have our goods, our energy, and that, medical supplies. All of this is one giant thing. And what's going on is basically a form of warfare to collapse things to where you're going to have an even playing field. Because you can't install a global control unless there's an even playing field across the board everywhere. And for us in the USA, that's going to be a real unpleasant thing. All right, stay tuned for the next one, guys, and thanks for watching.